Your folks got divorced.
Oh yeah.
How old were you?
I was 11. My brother was 7. Yeah.
Was
And
it challenging?
yeah.
How did it impact you?
Oh, well, I mean, the first thought I had was a very little kid thought, which was, I think this means I don't have to empty the dishwasher anymore.
Phil for you.
Which sounds great. Like, I'm not sure how but I recall thinking that. Yeah, I mean, so my parents were still very loving. They never fought in front of us, never even disagreed.
They never argued in front of you.
Yes, or did the thing
behind closed doors.
Yeah. So the good things about that are we weren't worried about them or like what they were doing to each other or us. And the other good thing, I'm a great packer. We did week on, week off, so I can like pack completely. Yeah. I'm really good at that. And my brother and I became the stable thing in each other's lives.
Because y'all paired.
Yeah.
Because y'all were moving.
We were always together.
Y'all had the same experience going from house to house. So that bonded you. You had a deep bond.
Yeah.
Because you were both navigating these probably strong events.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was challenging and challenging about like, who am I as a kid kind of questions.
Did you have to choose which parent to live with?
No.
Okay.
No. They lived within a few miles of each other and we very peacefully went back and forth between the houses every week.
Where was this at?
In North Texas. Yeah, in North Texas. So there's a small suburb of Fort Worth called Keller. Now it's like giant and has 4 Starbucks, but it was a little farming town that was just turning into suburbia.
What was it like to grow up there?
It was exactly like King of the Hill.
Oh, really?
Which I saw recently and was just like, oh my God. It really was like
farmers, that. Ranchers.
Yes, but also this growing affluence as well, bumping up against that. So, business was starting to happen there and it was wild.
How did you identify yourself? What were you as a kiddo?
I was nothing. I was in the background. So I was dissociated and outside my body most of the time when I was a child.
Really?
Yeah.
Dissociated and outside of your body?
I wouldn't recommend it, but it's, yeah.
Do you have any story that you tell yourself about that?
Well, I had a scary thing happen to me. I mentioned it before when I was 5.
Yeah.
And I like went outside of my body and like saw the event at the time from up in a tree. And it was like a protective measure. So that's how I lived for years.
Do you feel comfortable talking about what happened to you?
I probably wouldn't do that right now.
Okay.
Only because I wouldn't want to re-trauma. I wouldn't want to bring trauma to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but it was something that was difficult, really difficult.
Yeah.
And it impacted you for years and years after that.
Yeah.
You were really young.
Yeah. I was 5 when it happened. And so people thought I was really shy. I was dissociated. I was not in my body.
So after the event, it changed the way you interacted with the world.
Yeah.
Did your folks realize that, or did anybody notice?
I don't think so. There was a lot going on for them. Otherwise,
parenting is hard, and kids are weird in general.
Yes, kids are so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when I was in my I don't know, 11, 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there, I started coming back in my body more.
You did?
Not all the time, but I could do it more. And I was more social when I did that. I think I'm a more social person, but when I was removed, I was an observer a lot of the time. So, when I was...
What's that like? You were an observer of your experience.
Yeah.
That had to have been interesting.
So, like the meditations about being the witness?
Mm-hmm.
That's really easy for me. It's challenging for people. It's not hard for me because I lived there forever.
You would see your whole experience.
Yes.
Was that a protective measure?
Yes. People do this kids do this eventually naturally. It's something we all do sometimes.
Dissociate.
Yeah, but when something really scary happens, then you'll pop out like that.
And you just stayed out.
I stayed out. I
So you
mean,
were 12.
I didn't think through that. I just
No,
what happened.
yeah, it happened.
Yeah. 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 So as I started to come back in my body, I was more social, and I was always an organizer. So, when I was 6, I played piano, and I told my mom I wanted to have a recital,
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote up a flyer, and we went to Randall's and made copies on red paper.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the flyers to all the neighbors as soon as they came home from work and invited them. And we had sherbet and Sprite in little crystal cups. And I organized this event when I was 6. So
you were a pianist.
I was a pianist, but it was really about the gathering. I was interested in creating a gathering point. And all I knew was like, okay, if you're a kid and you play piano, people have to come to your recital.
So really you were an organizer.
Yes.
You identified with organization.
Yeah.
Bringing people together.
Yeah.
For social things.
Yeah, exactly.
What are other examples of that?
So when I became a teenager, I went into I got scooped up into a church that had like a really active, loving youth minister.
Mm-hmm.
That was all about service. And so I started organizing these huge groups of kids, of teenagers, to mow like all the lawns in Keller.
Wow.
And to do these giant service projects. So at the time, I didn't think, that's kind of weird. Like, I don't think most teenagers are doing that.
Yeah.
But that's what I was doing. So, yeah. So that, and it's funny, I found a few months after I moved to Austin, I made a brochure for a salon where everybody could bring a creative thing that they made. And I found that brochure in my mom's stuff, like a month ago when I was with my brother.
Wow.
So yeah, you can see like, I turned 20, a few months later, I'm like passing these out at school at UT.
You went to school? You went to UT?
Yeah.
What'd you study?
Oh, liberal arts and women's studies.
Women's studies and liberal arts.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the night sky. I love everything about astronomy. And I totally failed astronomy, like an F. Yeah. I didn't do well.
You didn't do well.
I had come from a small town and I didn't understand the big classes. So I figured it out eventually. But yeah. That I organized those. And then my friends, Mike Bound and Tom Carroll, that I mentioned earlier about modeling, they created this thing in Austin called the Acorn Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
It was a monthly meeting, and there was a speaker on the heart, the hands, and the head. So there were 3 speakers, and it was at this Saigon kitchen in South Austin. You'd pay a flat amount, they'd feed you whatever, and you get these 3 programs. This is incredible. And
really
I'm
cool.
in touch with many of the people from these circles still to this day.
Yeah.
And they got tired of doing that at some point. And that's when I started the Austin NLP meetup, because I wanted that continued community. I started it for myself because I want to be part of that ongoing community. So, So when I started taking classes with Tom and Bobby, I took the NLP practitioner class, loved it. And then the next class I assisted, and I brought 5 of my friends because I had started the meetup, and I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. Then the next year I assisted again, and I brought 10 friends. And Tom and Bobby were like, oh, this is like the hardest part of our job. Is
customer acquisition.
It's like bringing people
in. Yeah.
And I did it through community.
Heck yeah, community organizing, because you were an organizer.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think that's my style, and I've had several people want to copy that, and I don't think it's for everyone. I think it's my personality and my strengths it works for. I don't think it's an awesome business plan to make the most money or anything.
Yeah.
It's just what works for me because it serves my interests of community and participating in it.
Being a part of something.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end. This time has flown by.
Yeah. Thank you for this. This is great.
I have a question. Do you?
Okay.